gone live too soon. Never mind. This will fill the chatty bullshit portion of the stream. Oh, I got an organizer for the couch. It is helping. Practicing my makeup for the trans rights thing. Protesting the TERFs. My lash won't stay on. It's really annoying. I forgot to do a massive flick, so I'll try that now. Am I gonna get eyeliner on my wig? Probably. Just making sure the connection to the mic is good. Whoops. That's always what you want to hear when you're getting makeup. Whoops. It's fine. That'll do. I'm not like... Oh, that's not good. Oh, that feels real bad when it gets inside your eye. Oh, that doesn't feel good. Hi, Phil. Oh, I got eyeliner in my eye. Doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good. Oh, and a little bit went on the top of the lid. We're doing good. Good. I'm practicing some 60s style makeup. Hopefully that's not going to go on my eye again. And hopefully we will actually get up to the burning, the titular burning. Ow. I should have a backdrop really, but I can't hang them. Thank you. Done a little bouffant with the wig. Hoping that stays in place. Alright, let's find our place. Still finding my place. Oh, right, okay. So let's recap from yesterday. There's a village called Wickham. It's not Shadyside yet. I was wrong about that. It is 1600 times. Is your surname Parker? Oh, you must be my brother then. That's cool. I think everyone with the same surname's related to me, so... kind of weird. Because there's a lot of them. So it's 1692. It's the Salem year. And Wickham is a village in colonial America, Puritan times. And there are two families. The Fear family, F-I-E-R. They're not spelling it fear at this point. And the Good family, G-O-O-D-E. Yeah, I wonder what's up with those people. So Susanna Good is the young girl, and her family is poor. And Edward Fear, who she's in love with, is the son of the magistrate, Benjamin Fear, who has been burning witches because he's a dick. So he's like, Edward, you got to marry this girl because her dad is a tea importer. And Edward's like, no, I want to marry Susanna Good. And his dad is like, I don't think so. And Susanna and her mother get arrested on charges of witchcraft and found guilty basically immediately. Edward comes to the jail cell where Susanna and her mother are being held, and she's like, oh my god, you're here to save me, I love you. And he's like, I can't believe you were a witch the whole time. You broke my heart. My dad is never wrong and he cares about me, even though he specifically said he didn't care about me last time we talked. Oh, whoops. Oh, I forgot to share the link. Ah, thank you. Oh, this is so far from the conclusion of the book. Like, we haven't got up to the burning yet. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. Wrong link, sorry. There we go. That should be it. Thanks. Thank you, Andrew. So, here I'm practicing my my extremely 1960s feminine look for the trans rights rally / protest against the TERF organization who was speaking on Saturday. You must be this feminine. You gotta look like this if you want to piss. Wow. Okay. A film in which a woman has sex with and is... Oh, I know the one you're talking about. It's by the woman who did Raw, right? The French New Extremity kind of, the cannibal one. I've heard about that. It sounds pretty good, actually. I'm not sure I'd be up for the body horror of it. Okay, so Edward's like, I can't believe you betrayed me. I don't give a shit about you. I hate you. And Susanna's like, oh no, I'm gonna get set on fire. And my boyfriend just broke up with me, I think. Meanwhile, across the village, her father. Hey! Why is my timing great this time? Can't believe the absurdist moth didn't join us to watch my mannerisms. I'm honestly feeling a little bit... Oh, you just dropped Holly... Oh, that's good. That's really good. Okay. Everybody, can we get some hearts going in chat for Holly, who is the beloved cat of Danny and is in surgery right now. Let's get some hearts going. Let's get some prayers, thoughts and prayers to Freya, who's like, I forgot the name for it, fucking sled thing, is pulled by giant white cats. Hey Julie, haven't seen you in ages. Yeah, we're praying for you, Holly. Okay. Meanwhile, across the village, William Good, the dad of Susanna, and baby George, he is sitting in despair in his house. He's like, oh, this fucking sucks. Baby George is with a neighbor, by the way. We should never forget about baby George. We got you, Danny. So there's a big knocking at the door. Lots of knocking, and he's like, piss off. And then it turns out it's Matthew Fear, the brother of Benjamin Fear the magistrate, a man with a high-pitched voice that I can't remember how I did it last time, so... Matthew Fear, what do you want of me? William demanded weakly. Have you come to take me away too? That is amazing timing, Josh. Are you still hungover? Chapter 8. The torchlight fell over Matthew Fear's face, casting it into deep shadow. His dark eyes stared out at William, black circles ringed by black as the grave. That's pretty black. I have come to help you, not accuse you, William, Matthew said softly. He raised the torch high, and once again his face disappeared under the shadow of his hat. It was a really dark shadow. Help me? William said weakly, his body sagging in the narrow doorway. May I come in? They said he had a high-pitched voice. Ah, that's awesome. You're getting there. William nodded, took a step back. Matthew Fear set the torch down in the dirt and edged into the house, pulling his cloak around him. He's edging. He removed his hat, revealing tousled brown hair. He hung the hat on a hook in the wall. This is very important stuff. The two men stood awkwardly in front of the door, staring at each other. William was the first to break the silence. My wife and daughter have been unjustly accused. Your brother has made a dreadful mistake. Martha, next page, and Susanna know nothing of the dark arts. Yeah. I think graves are probably black if you see them at night. Matthew started to move past William, his eyes on the dying fire, but William grabbed the front of his cloak. Your brother is wrong, he cried. He is wrong! Wrong! My brother is human, Matthew said softly. Matthew's the vampire, Benjamin's human. Matthew said softly. He pulled away from William's grasp and, straightening the front of his cloak, stepped to the fire. William stared after him, bewildered by his remark. Yeah, the hats are really important. Like, when Susanna kissed Edward so hard his hat fell off, I was like, wow. Matthew picked up a log from beside the fireplace and dropped it onto the dying embers. You let your fire die, William, he said, staring into the hearth. Oh, from the inside, no thank you. I do not care about fires now, William replied. Oh, how ironic. His trembling voice revealing his emotion. I care only about my wife and daughter. I implore you, Matthew. Matthew turned to face William, clasping his hands in front of his grey doublet. Ooh, he had rough hands, William saw. Farmer's hands. I believe I can help you, William, Matthew said slowly and softly. You mean, I believe I can save your wife and daughter. William uttered a loud sigh. He gestured to the straight-back chair near the fire. Matthew shook his head. He began to pace back and forth in front of the hearth, his boots clicking against the floorboards somehow. My brother is human, as I said. Hi, Jesse. He's getting the baby back, though. Like, it's not there for realties forever. William scratched his white hair. I do not understand. Do you mean to say... His voice trailed off. I have influence with Benjamin, Matthew said, raising his dark eyes to William's. You can talk to him, William asked eagerly. You can reason with him. A strange smile formed on Matthew's face. He stopped pacing and nodded. I believe I can persuade my brother to change the verdict. Your wife and daughter need not burn tomorrow evening. Oh, thank you, Matthew, William cried joyfully. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head in a silent prayer. Did the sound go wobbly? It shouldn't have. Are you sure it's not me doing a dumb voice? When he raised his eyes, he saw that Matthew still had a strange smile on his lips. A wave of doubt swept over William as he climbed heavily to his feet. Oh yeah, the echo just happens sometimes. It will go away. Sorry about that. You really can sway your brother? He asked hopefully. Your brother will listen to you? Matthew nodded. Sweeping his cloak around him, he lowered himself into the tall-backed wooden chair. I can persuade Benjamin, he repeated. He narrowed his dark eyes. But it will be costly. Hey, Anselmo, what's up? What? William wasn't sure he heard correctly. Was Matthew Fear asking for payment? For a bribe? It will be costly, William, Matthew repeated, his smile fading. My services in this matter must be well rewarded. AJ, what's up? William Good swallowed hard. I have little money, he choked out. It will be costly. It will cost you money. I have little money, he choked out, but I will spend every shilling I have to save Martha and Susanna. The price is £100. I'm getting Austin Powers flashbacks, Matthew announced flatly, staring hard at William. £100? William cried, unable to conceal his surprise. But Matthew, I beg you. £100 is a small price to pay, Matthew said, rising and walking over to the hearth. The fresh log had just caught flame. Matthew held out his hands to warm them. William gaped at him in disbelief. He is willing to spare Martha and Susanna in exchange for a bribe, William thought, detectively. I knew the Fear brothers were ambitious. I knew their characters were weakened by the sin of greed, but I never dreamed they were so corrupt. I never dreamed they would try to increase their wealth by threatening the lives of an innocent woman and girl. Matthew, I have only £80, William protested. £80 is all that I brought from England, all that I possess in this world. If you take it, I will have nothing. Yeah, I think Susanna comes by her intelligence, pretty honestly. Matthew's dark eyes lit up, reflecting the leaping flames in the hearth. You will have your wife and daughter. And the baby, he said flatly, not mentioning the baby. William lowered his head, knowing that he would pay anything, knowing that he would pay the huge sum to Matthew Fear, knowing that he would pay anything to rescue Martha and Susanna from the flames. When he looked up, Matthew was examining a long-handled pan hanging on the wall beside the hearth. Very nice warming pan, he said. He loves the pans. Taking it down and turning it over in his hands, admiring it. Is it brass? It is of the finest brass, William replied. It was craned by my father. Craned? I don't know that word. I will take it as part of the payment, Matthew announced, still examining it, since you do not have the full £100 to pay me. Take it, William replied with a wave of his hand. Take everything I own, Matthew. Just return my family to me safely. Matthew lowered the warming pan and gazed around the small room. Speaking of your family, where is little George? He asked. Do not forget about George. Don't ever fucking forget about George. Mary Halsey next door has taken the baby, William replied unhappily. He needed a nurse, and I could not bear to look upon him, to see his innocent face and know that he would grow up without ever knowing his mother or sister. I don't think he's in a bargaining mode. It took him that long to figure out it was a bribe. I think if he tried to bargain, he would end up somehow owing Matthew Fear all of his skin or something. A loud sob escaped William's throat. He wiped tears from his eyes. I will get you your payment, Matthew, he said in a voice trembling with emotion. Then will you speak to Benjamin tonight? Matthew nodded solemnly. Your family will be released tomorrow at sunset. Your troubled heart may rest easy, William. His head's still spinning. Yeah, guess what? His head's still spinning. William eagerly made his way to the back of the house, where his life savings were hidden. As he pulled the heavy cloth bag up from under a loose floorboard, he felt as if his heart were about to burst. Martha will be home tomorrow night. Susanna will be home too. We will all be so happy again. What rejoicing we will do. He hoisted the bag to the front room and sat down at the table to count it out. William Fear, that's a typo, Matthew Fear. Yeah, Yeah, he's paying for a wife and a fully grown daughter who is capable of doing chores, so, you know. Matthew Fear, carrying the brass warming pan in one hand, made his way to the table and peered over William's shoulder at the large coins. £80, William said finally, shoving the pile of coins toward Matthew. I am left with 2 copper shillings, but I am a rich man. Yes, you are, Matthew agreed, his face completely expressionless. Spinning around like the exorcist. As he leaned forward to collect the coins, the pendant he wore around his neck fell in front of William's eyes. It was so unusual that William couldn't help but comment on it. What an interesting amulet you wear, Matthew, he remarked. Matthew stood up and fingered the amulet, as if seeing it for the first time. The silver disc sparkled with blue jewels. The jewels were grasped by a silver 3-toed claw. Matthew twirled the disc in his fingers. On the back, 3 Latin words were inscribed. Oh, Latin never means anything good. William struggled to read the words. Dominatio per malum. Quite unusual, William said. What do the words mean? Matthew tucked the amulet back inside his doublet. Just an old saying, a very normal old saying, he replied with a shrug. He didn't say very normal, I did. The amulet was given to me by my grandmother before I left our village. I wear it only as a reminder of that wonderful old woman and of my previous life, a life of poverty and struggle. William raised his eyes to Matthew's, studying his face in the dim firelight. I have heard such a claw referred to as a demon's claw, he told his visitor, unwisely. It is said to have powers. For a brief moment, Matthew's mouth remained open in surprise. When he regained his composure, he said, I know nothing about powers or demon's claws, nor should you, William Good. Oh, of course not, William said quickly, lowering his eyes. Matthew Fear collected the remaining coins, and then, carrying the brass warming pan, I'm sorry, I don't know why I find the warming pan that funny, he made his way to the door, his cloak sweeping behind him. He lowered his hat onto his head and turned to gaze back at William. William hadn't risen from the table. His entire body was trembling with joy, with eagerness, with relief. My family, he managed to say. I will make sure of everything, Matthew Fear promised. Then, pulling his heavy cloak closer about him, he opened the door and disappeared into the night. End of chapter 8. Just have a little sip of some iced coffee here. I made with syrup and milk and a spoon. Quid bonum is something good in Latin. Good point. That's my favourite Latin is oh, I can't remember it. I'll do it later. Oh yeah, here. Caesar ate some yam for tea. Brutus ate a rat. Caesar sick in omnibus. Brutus sick in hat. It's funny. Power through evil. I don't feel like it's a spoiler to tell you that it means power through evil. I mean, it would be quite surprising if it meant anything else. Chapter 9. The next evening, William Good hurried across the commons toward the prison. Yeah, that family activity we all know. Grandma screaming Dominatio per malum as she tramples Grandad's balls with her stiletto heels. was a simpler time, you know. Art gratiatis. Yeah, that means lion. That's a lion's roar. I know, good versus evil, but as you will see, gets a little more tricky than that. The next evening, William Good hurried across the commons toward the prison. A small flock of sheep interrupted their grazing to raise their heads and mutter their surprise in his direction. That's them. The sun spread rose-coloured waves across the evening sky as it lowered itself behind the trees. A pale half-moon was already visible, just poking over the shingled roof of Benjamin Fear's two-storey house. Ooh. The day had gone by in a haze for William. Sheep do mutter. They go, and it's really annoying. They bleat, yeah. I guess a quiet bleat is a mutter. The day had gone by in a haze for William. Mary Halsey had brought him his midday meal, but it had gone untouched. He had intended to mend the fence around his, next page, wife's small kitchen garden, but hadn't the strength. Time had stood still, and William Good frozen with it. Only when the sun had begun to sink and evening approached had William sprung to life. Now he moved quickly past squawking chickens and a lowing herd of scrawny cows, eager to be reunited with his beloved family. Eager to hug them, to touch them, eager to share the warm tears that would flow, the happy tears that would wash away the terror, erase all the nightmares, eager to bring Martha and Susanna home. Yeah, I have not had the strength. Well, I've had the strength to do all of this, but that was largely out of vanity and spite. As the low grey prison building came into view, William's heart began to pound. So much joy, so much relief. We get it. Panting loudly with excitement, he slowed his pace. Then he stopped to catch his breath. A yapping hound ran across his path. Yep, 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 yep. I don't know what that noise was. William looked up to see a crowd in front of the prison entrance. They've come to share my joy, he realised. Their faces were hidden from him. Hidden by dark hats and hoods. But he knew they were his neighbours, his friends, grateful for the reversal of the unjust verdict, grateful for the Good's change of fortune. Yeah, the sinister blackmail. Yeah, William is so fucking dumb. He is no smarter than a sheep. And sheep are just the worst. As he approached them, his legs felt weak. His knees felt weak, his legs trembly. There was vomit on his doublet already. Mom's spaghetti. He forced himself to take a deep breath and hold it. He could hear their murmuring voices as they huddled near the prison doorway. This is the happiest day of my life, he thought. Oh, always get a receipt. Always, always get a receipt. And then the door swung open. An officer appeared. Another officer stepped out in front of the murmuring crowd. Susanna came next, her head lowered as she walked through the doorway. Martha Good followed close behind, her shadow blue against the hard, grey ground. Susanna! Martha! William called, pushing eagerly through the crowd of well-wishers. They both raised their eyes and searched for him. Here I am! Martha! Over here! Susanna! William called happily. He stepped to the front of the group of onlookers, breathing hard, his face red, his vision already blurred by happy tears. That must have been confusing for them. Wow, he is kind of thrilled about this. Ouch. He watched for them to be released. But to his surprise, their hands were tied behind their backs. William gasped as one of the officers turned and shoved Martha from behind, pushing her hard, causing her to stumble forward. Martha! William cried. She saw him finally and called out to him, a mournful expression on her face. Do not worry, he called. They are releasing you. Father! Susanna cried shrilly, her face also twisted in anguish. Help us, Father! Do not worry, William stuttered, but his voice caught in his throat as he saw the officers force his wife and daughter toward the low mounds of straw. Father! Martha! Susanna pleaded. William, help us! Martha cried. Wait! William shouted. Someone tried to restrain him. It is all in the hands of the Maker, he heard someone mutter. Let us pray for their souls. No! William screamed. I don't give a fuck about their souls. He pulled away, jerked himself free. Now's not the time, William. And began running toward them. Stop! Stop! To William's horror, Susanna and Martha had already been marched to the straw piles and were being tied to tall wooden stakes. Oh my god, where is this going? No! William's scream of protest raged in the evening air like the howl of a desperate animal. But I did it quietly because my throat's sore. His vision blurred by angry tears, he burst forward, howling his rage, a frantic wail of protest. He stopped short when he saw Benjamin Fear at the edge of the crowd, overseeing the proceedings, hands on the sides of his long black cloak, his face hidden in the shadow of his wide-brimmed hat. God, the hat's in this. Benjamin! William screamed, grabbing the magistrate from behind by the shoulders. Benjamin, you must stop this now! Free them! Your brother promised me! With a... Oh, Susanna's always shrill. She's an idiot. With a desperate sigh, William spun her around by the shoulders and gazed into an unexpected face. Giles! William croaked, his voice a shocked whisper. Giles Roberts? A person we've never heard of before? William, please let go of me, the deputy magistrate said softly. Giles, but... William stammered breathlessly, too astonished to think clearly. Susanna and Martha were now tightly secured to the stakes. The two officers were moving forward with lighted torches. Stop them, Giles, William demanded. Stop them at once! Where is Benjamin? Where is Benjamin Fear? I must speak to him before... Giles Roberts took a step back, freeing himself from William's grip. William, have you not heard? He asked, staring into William's tear-filled, stupid eyes. Benjamin and his brother Matthew fled the village before dawn this morning. The end of chapter 9! Sip. Chapter 10. I think it's lit, but yeah, the chapters are basically 2 pages long. It's a YA. And they all end on cliffhangers or shocking surprises or, you know. Fled the village? William cried frantically, staring over Giles Roberts' shoulder to the straw piles where his wife and daughter were twisting in terror against the wooden stakes that held them. Before dawn, Giles repeated solemnly. But I paid Matthew, William cried. I paid him to... The Fears robbed us, Giles told him. They emptied the storehouse, they left us no food for winter. They took everything. Like, everything. I don't understand, William cried, feeling the ground tilt and whirl beneath him. He shut his eyes and tried to steady himself. They loaded all their belongings onto wagons, Giles told him, and they just disappeared with all our supplies. But didn't they speak to you before they left? William demanded, desperately clutching at Giles. Didn't Benjamin tell you? Didn't Matthew tell you? No, they didn't speak to me, William, Giles replied softly. And then he added firmly, please let go of me. But the sentence against my wife and daughter was to be reversed. They are to be freed, Giles. Benjamin should have told you. He should have... Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess they're burning the women because the Fear brothers stole all of their food and entertainment. So they're just going to have a bit of a burning to make themselves feel better. He told me nothing, Giles said. The deputy magistrate's features grew hard. The sentence must be carried out. Yeah. I mean, the straw is interesting. I feel like it can't be just straw, but it's never mentioned whether there's more to it. And why they go ahead with the burning, I've never actually wondered about that because I read this as a child, but it doesn't really make sense. There was no use struggling, Susanna realised, switching back to her perspective. That's another thing Arlstein loves to do. Yep, the thieves who doomed us to starvation. Well, you know, we still got to abide by that ruling. Susanna's hands were tightly bound. She could not free herself from the stake. It poked uncomfortably into her back. Her wrists throbbed against the tight cords. Her shoulders ached. She raised her eyes to the sky. The sun had lowered itself behind the trees she had loved to walk among. The piney, sweet-smelling trees that had brought her so much joy. The trees where she and Edward had hidden during their brief secret meetings, during her brief happiness. Lowering her eyes, she thought she saw Edward. He stood at the edge of the crowd, staring back at her. At first, Susanna saw hurt in his eyes, pain. But as she gazed at him, his face appeared to harden before her eyes until it became a mask of cold hatred. She cried out and realised it wasn't him. It wasn't Edward. The boy didn't look at all like Edward. Oh my god, I was just imagining my ex-boyfriend, and I was imagining him looking at me with a hateful look, but it was a different guy. Oh, I'm not even comfy. 2 circles of yellow light approached from out of the darkness. 2 torches. "Mother!" Susanna cried. "Mother, will it hurt?" Tears streamed down Martha Good's swollen cheeks. She turned her face from her daughter, struggling to stifle her sobs. "Will it hurt, Mother? Tell me, Mother. Will it hurt?" End of chapter 10. Spoiler alert. Yeah, Edward's gone with them. Yeah. She was just imagining she saw him. Chapter 11. We did it! We got to the burning! They burned them! The burning happened. William Good pressed his hands against the sides of his face. But the anguished screams of his wife and daughter invaded his ears. I'll hear their screams forever. Eyes closed, he could still picture their bodies twisting on the flaming stakes, still see their melting faces, their fiery hair. Yeah, it sounds like it probably did hurt. He had tried to run to them, but the 2 officers had held him back, pushing him to the ground, holding him on his knees as the choking black smoke fogged the sky, and the howls of agony rose higher than the flames. Martha! Susanna! My family! William was still on his knees when the fire had been doused and the silent crowd had departed. He hadn't noticed that he was alone now. Alone with his grief. Alone with the stench of the smoke in his nostrils. Alone with the screams of his wife and daughter ringing in his ears. They burned so brightly, he thought, sobbing. They burned as bright as stars. Well, we just need to wait and see, I think. The ground beneath him was puddled with his tears. He raised his eyes to the night sky, the colour of coal, pierced with pale white stars. That is usually the colour of the sky, yeah. When it's black, it usually is black. I know you're both up there, William thought, climbing unsteadily to his feet. I know you are both up there, bright as stars. He uttered one last wrenching sob. Then his grief quickly gave way to his fury. He strode home along the silent, deserted commons, his eyes held straight ahead. The fire faded in his mind, faded to dark, shifting images, pictures of Benjamin and Matthew Fear. His fury grew with every step. Betrayed. They betrayed me and stole my life. William? A voice startled him at his front door. It took him a while to erase the hated images of the Fear brothers and focus on the dark figure in his doorway. Mary Halsey, he whispered. Guess what she wants? She held the baby up to him, wrapped tightly in a wool blanket. Take the baby, William. Take George. No. William raised his hands as if to fend the baby off. He is your only family now, Mary Halsey insisted, thrusting the baby forward. Take him. Hold him, William. He will help you get over your grief. Nah, William replied. No, not now, Mary Halsey. There's something I must do first. Maybe, but I don't think she has, like, the memorial permanence to understand things that have happened to her in the past and extrapolate to what might happen in the future. I think her mother was probably crying because she's like, God, I raised a fucking imbecile. He startled her by pushing past her and entering his house, closing the door hard behind him. The house was dark, nearly as dark as William's thoughts. Ooh, the fire had long since burned out. Get it? William moved quickly through the darkness to the back of the house. He pulled open the door that led to his special room, the tiny, secret room behind the wall, where even Susanna and Martha had never gone. Did you see that coming? The room where the black candles were always lit. He stepped into the flickering orange light and pulled the door closed behind him. Whispering the ancient words of the purification ritual, William removed the scarlet hooded robe from its hiding place beneath a stack of wooden boxes and pulled it around him. William could feel the power of the robe even before he lowered the hood over its head. Dress for the job you want. Bowing his head 3 times, William gazed around the circle of candlelight. It is probably also where he jacks off, yeah. Then he dropped to his knees on the dirt floor and began to chant the ancient words he knew so well. My wife and daughter were innocent, William thought bitterly as he chanted. They were innocent, but I am not. They had no knowledge of these dark arts, but I have practiced them all. Did you see that coming? You didn't. Whispering the ancient dark curses. You gotta wonder why he didn't do this before. At any point before. Whispering the ancient dark curses, he began to scratch signs of evil in the dirt floor. He was breathing hard now, his heart pounding in his chest. Under the satiny scarlet hood, he glared, unblinking, at the ancient symbols he was scratching in the dirt. A grim smile formed on his trembling lips. Innocents died today, William Good thought, as he summoned the spirits of evil he had summoned so many times before. Innocents died today, but my hatred will live for generations. The fears shall not escape me. Wherever they flee, I will be there. My family's screams shall become the fear's tortured screams. The fire that burned today will not be quenched, until revenge is mine, and the fears burn forever in the fire of my curse. Cut 2. William the world's stupidest wizard. Oh, there's some competition. It's like he forgot that he could do dark magic until afterwards. But cut 2, village of Shadyside, 1900. That's how it began. That's how it all began more than 200 years ago, Nora Good said. Staring into the yellow candle glow, she set down her pen. Her slender hand ached from writing. How long have I been here, she wondered, allowing her eyes to trail down the melting wax on the side of the candle. How long have I been seated at this narrow table, writing the story of my ancestors? The candle flickered, reminding her of the fire. Yep, she's a good. Once again she saw the burning mansion. Once again she heard the anguished screams of her loved ones trapped inside the blaze. How did I escape? Nora wondered, staring intently into the flame. I don't remember. How did I get here? Someone brought me here. Someone found me. Someone found me on the lawn, staring into the fire, watching the mansion burn. Someone helped me away from there and brought me to this room. And now I must write it all down. I must tell the whole story. I must explain about the 2 families and the curse that has followed us through the decades. Nora picked up the pen. With a trembling hand, she straightened up the stack of papers on the small table. She leaned toward the smooth yellow candle flame. I must finish the story before the night is ended, she thought. So little time. Susanna and Martha Good burned in 1692. Now my story picks up 18 years later. Benjamin and Matthew Fear are once again successful farmers. Matthew's wife, Constance, has given him a daughter, Mary. Benjamin's son Edward is a grown man. He never married Anne Ward, but he has married Rebecca, a woman from a nearby village, and they have a son named Ezra. So much to tell. So much to tell. Taking a deep breath, Nora bent over the table. A few seconds later, her pen scratched against the paper as she resumed her dark tale. Oh, that's the end of... Wait, is it the end of The Burning? I think this has all 3 books in it. I think it's the end of The Burning and the beginning of The Secret. But we'll just make sure before I jump away from it. Why was he such a shitty farmer? I have no idea. Why did he let any of that stuff happen? Maybe he forgot that he was a witch. No, I think we might still be in The Burning. I think we might still be going. I'm just checking. Well, I know, but you have to really visualize your enemies. Like burning at the stake or whatever. And you kind of manifest it a little bit. Nope, we're still going with The Burning. Okay. I have no idea. It's so crazy. But yeah, okay. We're still in The Burning. We've picked up 18 years later. Part 2. Actually, maybe I should do a different video for part 2. Because, I mean, we got to The Burning. It was really exciting. But I've forgotten to eat or take my pills today. I'm smart like Susanna Good. Should I take my pills? Should I take my pills, Mother? Yeah, I'm going to go eat something and take my pills, and then we're going to pick it up in about 2 hours. Does that work for everybody? We're going to get on to part 2, set in the western Pennsylvania frontier, 1710. Well, there's a bit of a delay, so I'm just going to sit and wait for you guys. Actually, not 2 hours. Let's pick it up in 1 hour, because we don't want Danny sitting there worrying about Holly. So let's pick it up in 1 hour. Oh, awesome, Andrew. Go to bed. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, excuse. See you again in an hour. We'll rendezvous back here for part 2. The reburning. It was nice to hang out. It was really nice to see all you guys. Alright, see you again soon. Kakite, 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 ano. Kakite, 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 ano.